I lost my best friend in one day. Didn't bury him, just shelved him with the other things I don't touch anymore. If you're expecting a big explosion, there wasn't one. It was a Saturday, Cleveland gray, coffee in a Chip Guardians mug, in a garage that smelled like dust and motor oil. I'm 65, retired from the plant. Daily uniform is jeans with a knee stain that won't quit, and a ball cap that's older than my grandson. Ordinary guy. Ordinary morning. Then Danny Miller showed up. "Frank," he said, stepping over a snow shovel like it might bite him. "You ready to finally face the mountain?" "It's not a mountain," I told him. "It's a curated exhibit of my poor decisions and Linda's projects." "Great," he said. "I brought donuts in contractor bags. Pick your poison." That's how it always was with us. We met when we were 6, after he threw a rubber ball into my face on purpose and then stood there waiting to see if I'd cry. I didn't. We've been annoying each other since the Nixon years. He's been at every important day I've had. He held the ring at my wedding. He taught my son Mark to throw a curveball that never actually curved. Every Christmas our families ran the same script. Pot roast at our place, coconut cake it is. We took a 1-week trip every summer. Cheap motels, fishing, swearing we'd catch something big, and coming home with stories instead. If there was a picture of my life, Danny's elbow would be sticking in the corner of each frame. So we packed the garage like two guys who should have rented a dumpster 5 years ago. He'd grab a box and bark, "Keep, donate, or torch?" I'd answer like it was a pop quiz. We worked quick. Felt good in that letting go way people write about. Then I pointed at a crate. "This one's staying," I said. "Don't even breathe on it." He smirked. "What's in it? Hidden gold?" "Tapes," I said. "Old cassettes. Family stuff." Linda's voice. Church choir from '85. Mark's first words. Allison spelling hippopotamus with a Texas accent she never had. "It stays. If I keel over, you tell them this box gets a seat at the table." He lifted both hands, mocking surrender. "Sir, yes, sir." We went back to work. He teased me about keeping a broken coffee maker. I teased him about believing in that phone app that tells you when your tomatoes are thirsty. We were us, fully, loudly, stupidly us. Around noon, the city truck clanged down the street. I heard the brakes squeal. Danny was dragging bags to the curb like he was in a contest with a clock. "Not that crate," I called. "Danny, not the crate." He didn't answer. He had that look he gets, the "we're gonna do the efficient thing" look, and the crate with the tapes was somehow in the lineup by his feet. I dropped the box of Christmas lights and hoofed it, waving like a guy trying to flag down a cab that won't stop. "Hey," I yelled at the guys on the truck. "That one's staying." The first bag was already gone. The arm grabbed the next. The crate scraped concrete. "Hey, that brown crate, leave it." I was close enough to smell diesel. "Please." One of the guys leaned out, hand up like back away, and another shouted, "We can't pick and choose, man." Danny stepped up behind me. "It's just clutter, Frank. We're making room." I put a hand on the crate. The truck arm stuttered like it was thinking. "Not this," I said. "Danny, I told you." "Frank," he said, quiet, like he was explaining taxes to a teenager. "We've talked about this for years. You've been drowning in all this. I'm throwing you a rope." "Not that," I said. "Any of it, not that." I could hear myself, the thin edge of my voice that shows up when I'm trying not to yell. The arm clamped. The crate rose, tilted, and disappeared into the mouth of the truck with a sound like a throat clearing. You know how some noises stick to a day? That one's glued to mine. If you think that's the worst part, I'll tell you now. Hang on. It wasn't. I turned to Danny. "No speeches, no dramatic poses." You did not just do that. He rested his hands on his hips like a coach. "You'll thank me. Those things rot in attics. They take up brain space." "Brain space," I said. That was my wife's voice. He shrugged like the sun was out, and we should enjoy it. "I've seen you stuck, friend. Maybe a little less looking back will put some gas in your tank." "Gas in my tank." He always had phrases like that. They sounded useful until you needed the actual thing. One of the trash guys, Ramon, stitched on his chest, saw my face and said, "Look, I can't turn the system off, but give me 5 minutes." Sometimes stuff slides near the side. We get breaks. He jumped down. Danny rolled his eyes like Ramon was trying to win a medal for customer service. I stood there with my hands empty. We waited. The truck sighed and clicked. Neighbor dogs barked because that's what they do when a truck idles. Ramon came back, shaking his head. I'm sorry, sir. It's compacted. You're not getting it out without tearing the truck open. I thanked him because he tried, and I shook Danny's sleeve because I needed to do something that wasn't yelling. You heard me. I told you. That crate was off limits. He reached for my arm. Frank, buddy, you are overreacting. Don't buddy me, I said. Not about this. He made a face like I'd refused a free pizza. I'm trying to help you. You've been stuck since Linda passed. Every time I come over, it's like a shrine in here. It's called a home, I said flat. You want to help? Listen when I say not that. We were quiet long enough for another neighbor to fake water their lawn. That's a sport on my street. Pretend you're not watching. Let's take a break, he said. I'll go get lunch. Take a break, I said, and don't come back today. He blinked. Frank, I mean it. He looked at me like I'd forgotten our script. 59 years, he said. You're throwing that at a garbage truck? You threw it first. He stood there, jaw working. Then he left. The worst part came later when he texted. You're welcome. Someday you'll see this was the right call. I stare at that message and realize something I should have seen years ago. With Danny, there was always a plan, and I was always somehow the project. He'd rearrange my tools if he thought it made more sense. He'd change my TV settings because the picture's too cold. He'd tell me which chair was best for my back like he had a diploma. It always sounded like care. It often felt like being moved around the board while he played both sides. I didn't answer. I sat in the garage on a milk crate like a man guarding ruins and listened to the neighborhood. A kid dumped a basketball into a net that wasn't there. Somewhere a grill got lit. Life continued, which is rude when you wanted to pause. Mark came by around 3. He's 38, tall like his mother's brothers, all elbows and kind questions. What's with the curb, he said. Looks like you finally surrendered. You could say that. He saw the contractor bags, the empty patch where the crate had been. Where's Mom's stuff? His voice did that thin edge thing mine had earlier. Gone, I said. Your Uncle Danny helped. He looked at me like I told him I'd sold the house to a circus. Dad, tell me you're joking. Wish I were. He called Danny because that's what people do now. Bring more people into the room by phone. I listened to my best friend explain to my son what liberation looks like. It's good for him, Danny said. He can't live in rewind. Mark paced. Not your call. I'm practically family, Danny said, like that was a badge that lets you walk anywhere. Family asks, Mark said. Family doesn't toss. They bickered a minute. I let them. It felt like watching two guys argue about which way the river should flow. When Mark hung up, he squeezed my shoulder. I'm sorry, he said. Me too, I said. Go home. Hug your kid. I need to sweep. Dad, please, I said. I'll be okay. He left reluctantly. The sun fell behind the maples like it was late for something. I hummed the old choir tune just to hear it out loud. The next morning, Danny was on my porch at 8 with apologies stacked up on his face. He held a bag from the hardware store. I bought a cassette converter, he said. We'll digitize everything else. We'll make a project. Coffee. You can't convert what you compacted, I said. There is no everything else. That was the crate. He tried to smile like the word crate was funny. You're being dramatic. You keep saying that, I said like I'm in a play. I'm just telling you a fact. He set the bag down and leaned against the rail. Okay, I am sorry. I thought you needed a push. You've always needed a push. I needed my friend to listen, I said. Instead, I got a foreman. He nodded, making a show of taking that in. So what now? We skipped the Saturday trip this year? You punish me? That's not you. We're not skipping, I said. We're stopping. He scratched the side of his neck. Stopping what? This, I said, small circle of the finger to mean all our routines. At least for now. I need some quiet without your plans in it. You'll call, he said, like he refused to file what I said where it belonged. I won't, I said, and I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just done with the part of our friendship that needed me to be the student. He left a note anyway. It was on lined paper taped to my fridge, middle school style. Call me when you're ready. I didn't. The first week felt like a tooth you can't stop touching. I'd reach for the phone during a game, wanted to send him a picture of a ridiculous out at second, and then remember the crate and put the phone face down like it was misbehaving. My neighbor Mrs. Patel caught me, checking the mail twice a day. You were waiting for a letter or a miracle, she asked. Maybe both, I said. She said. In my experience, Miracles don't arrive by the postal service, but I've seen them squeeze through smaller doors. What does that mean? It means sweep your garage slower, she said, and walked away smiling like she'd just traded me a recipe. Meanwhile, life kept doing its life thing. Allison called about a PDA fundraiser. Mark sent videos of Maya practicing the alphabet with more drama than Broadway. The Saturday trip came on the calendar. We usually book a cheap cabin on a lake that's never as full as the pictures online. I didn't book it. He didn't either. The day arrived anyway. On that Saturday, I drove my old F-150 to the reservoir. The truck makes noises like grumbling, the complaints of age. I parked near where we usually bicker about which spot is best for casting imaginary fish. I folded a lawn chair and sat staring at blue water that doesn't care about people problems. An older guy with a cooler walked by, nodded. Good day for it. For what? Whatever you came here for. Right? I said. Maybe. I didn't tell him I came to rehearse a speech I had no plan to give. I tried lines in my head like I was shaving off burrs. Maybe we could rewind. Maybe we could go back to before the truck. Then I heard myself actually say out loud, "You can't rewind what you compacted," and realized that sentence had become my weather report. It was sunny with a chance of reality. On the way home, muscle memory took me past Danny Street. I stopped at the light, watched his front yard. A kid, his neighbors, rode a scooter in circles. Danny's minivan was in the drive, his garage door half open, a baseball bat leaning inside like it was waiting for someone to pick sides. 30 feet that way was a man who'd stood next to me at every milestone. And I stayed in the truck until the light turned green, and then I turned left instead of right, because I don't like doing brave things on empty stomach. Weeks went by. People started asking in that careful way people do when they suspect a crack under the paint. You and Danny okay? Haven't seen you two at the diner. You guys take separate buses to the same trip? I make a joke because jokes are quicker than therapy. Yeah, he got promoted to supervisor of my feelings. People laughed. Laughter is a good curtain. Then one night, I was digging for a glove in the glove compartment. So dumb that name, like it's still 1955 and we're all wearing white gloves, and my hand hit plastic. An old cassette was wedged back there, behind expired maps and a pen that never worked. It had Linda, April 1991, choir written in my wife's blocky scrawl. I sat there, garage light buzzing, holding that little brick like it had a heartbeat. I don't own a player anymore. The last one went to the church rummage years ago. So I did what we all do when we find something old and important. I put it on the kitchen table and stared at it like staring is emotion. Next morning, I went to the thrift store. The woman behind the counter had hair the color of a penny and a shirt that said blessed in rhinestones that fought the fluorescence. You folks have a cassette player? She laughed like I'd asked for a butter churn. We do. Box of them by Electronics. $2 each. All sales final. None of them are guaranteed to do anything but collect dust. I bought 2. Back home, I sat the tape in the first one, clicked it shut. It whirred like a tiny lawnmower, then coughed. Nothing. Second one worked. Linda's voice rose up in my kitchen like it had been hiding in the vents. Testing, testing, she said, probably teasing the choir director like she always did. And then singing, that clear alto that used to bounce around our house on Saturday mornings when she cooked with the radio on. I didn't cry. I don't say that as sound tough. I say it because my reactions these days are slow on the draw, like they have to check the schedule first. I made coffee, sat, listened to the whole thing, the squeaks and coughs and little laughs between the songs where you hear a person more than you do in any photo. When it ended, I rewound it and did it again while I wiped the counter with a sponge that's seen better days. Ordinary things are a decent stage for miracles, turns out. I thought about calling Danny. I pictured us on my porch with those cheap folding chairs that make your knees talk. I pictured telling him one tape survived and him saying, "See, the universe agrees with me." And I pictured getting mad again. And then I pictured him saying, "I'm sorry," and me saying, "Okay," and then both of us pretending that sorry fixes everything it lands on. I pictured a lot of things while the coffee went cold and the tape clicked and spun. Instead of calling, I called Mark. "Come by," I said. "Bring Maya if she's not busy being the boss of you." They showed up with muffins from the bakery that gives me the wrong change on purpose to start conversations. "What's up?" Mark said. I pointed to the player. "Your mom's choir." He swallowed like his throat had opinions. No way. We listened. Maya, 6, drummed her fingers on the table like the music was an elevator she didn't mind riding. When it ended, Mark put his palms on the table and exhaled a sentence he didn't say. She's right here, he finally said. Yep. We didn't mention Danny. Not then. Later, when Mark put his daughter's jacket on her backwards and she protested like a miniature lawyer, he said, "You're gonna call him?" "Not today," I said. "Maybe not tomorrow, either." "You're really done?" "I'm done being managed," I said. He nodded. "Okay." On Tuesday, my doorbell rang. Danny stood there with a paper bag and a face that looked like it hadn't been sleeping on good pillows. He held out the bag as if it might explain itself. "What's that?" I asked. "Turntables," he said. "Picked up a few old tech things. Thought we could." "I don't know." He caught himself. "Sorry. Habit." "Come in," I said, because I was raised to at least let people finish their sentences. We sat at the table that's seen birthdays, homework, and a million bowls of cereal. I showed him the tape like a magic trick performed after the audience left. "One survive," I said. He smiled softly. "Of course it did. Linda always had a way." "Don't make it a lesson," I said. He held up both hands. "I'm not. I came to say I'm sorry. For all of it. I push. I always have. Since we were kids. I tell myself it's love, because it is, but it's also control. I don't like when you hurt, so I do something. Doing something is my way of not feeling useless. If I just stood there at the curb, maybe I'd have saved what mattered. I know that. I'm sorry. This the part where I say it's okay?" I asked. "No," he said. "This is the part where I say I'll give you room. And if room means a long time without Saturday trips, I'll have to live with that." We sat with the tape between us like a tiny referee who didn't care what we decided. He looked at the player and then at me. "Can I hear it?" "You can," I said. "Then you'll go." We listened. He closed his eyes at the verse where Linda always smiled because she liked the words. When it ended, he stood, took a breath like he was going to try another speech, and didn't. "I'll check in at Christmas," he said. "Not before. Unless you call." "Okay." He left, and this time there wasn't a note on the fridge. The house went back to its quiet, a quiet I'm learning isn't empty. It's like a room after everyone leaves, and you notice the chair you've had forever is actually pretty comfortable when it's just you and the clock. So that's how I lost my best friend in one day. Not to a fight that woke the neighborhood, to a decision that had been waiting, apparently, for a truck schedule. He's still here, in the same town, buying tomatoes with that app, probably reorganizing his garage by height of nail. I wish him well. Truly. If you're looking for fireworks, there aren't any. Just a man with an old tape, a decent cup of coffee, and a Saturday with more room in it than he expected. And the understanding that sometimes you protect what matters by setting down what almost does.